And welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to go over the recent Sledgehammer Reddit AMA. So pretty much late last week, Sledgehammer said they were going to do a Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and today, on Monday, they were going to reply to a bunch of people's comments about the game. And I will say, this whole thing pretty much has their very first concern being skill-based matchmaking. And honestly, I have no idea if they will respond to it. I doubt they do, because like they've said before, it is not these devs that work on it. I think it's Demonware. I think they do all the networking and matchmaking related stuff. But anyway, yeah, so I'm just gonna sit here and wait for them to reply and then go from there. All right, it's been about 20 minutes and we have the first one here. A user asked, what are you going to do about the Gaia skin and problem it has brought forward to Modern Warfare 3 from Modern Warfare 2? Sledgehammer responds with, adjustments to Gaia and Gaia Black Cell operator skins are in the pipeline for Modern Warfare 3. In a future game update, we'll disable this item until said changes can be released to all players. So that is great. Don't have to worry about the Groot skin blending in with so many maps in this game. So far, Sledgehammer has answered one question, and it has been 35 minutes. I think they're having trouble finding a question that's not related to SBMM in any way. Kinda crazy. The next question is from Star Stats, and they asked, hardcore multiplayer, can we please address these hardcore mode issues? No final kill cam, HUD randomly showing, scatter mine tactical acts as if it's a lethal and kills every time. Sledgehammer responded with, fixes for both final kill cam and HUD are in progress. In a future update, we'll have balance updates to the scatter mine and RGL 80 that are specific to hardcore playlists. These items are currently overperforming due to the decreased health. Just a little tweak there. For the next question, someone asked, disbanding lobbies. I would love to play again with enemies and teammates. It would also help balance the system currently in place that disbands a lobby following a match. Sledgehammer responds, in a future game update, we'll be testing non-disbanding lobbies with a cohort of players to determine the performance of such a change. If these tests go well, we'll explore a rollout to all players. Wow. Honestly, I did not think that they would respond to one like this, because I can only assume that disbanding lobbies has to do with like the skill-based matchmaking, just to make sure like a change like that, like let's say you do good the game, it'll kick you out to put you in a lobby that is based off a recent performance. Well, I guess we can hope that the performance of this change goes well, and hopefully we can get it back to where it was in the old days of COD. In the next question here, a user asked, the blast radius of grenades is really big compared to other explosives. Will the hand grenade be nerfed? Sledgehammer Game says, we're actively investigating a reduction to the maximum damage of frag grenades. These changes will decrease the damage taken by players both at the center and outer edges of the explosion. That makes me think maybe EOD is fine, and maybe the frag is just the issue. I guess we'll have to find out, because I only ever die with EOD by frags. I never die by Semtexes. That still works. Let me know down in the comments if you have that problem as well, having frag grenades kill you with EOD and other lethals are just fine. Next up, we have a question from Jugger Clutch. They asked, have you considered enabling streak looping? It's an option in private games, so it shouldn't be a big deal to enable it in public playlist. I think it should be rewarded if someone is able to stay on a long streak. Having to die to get another UAV, for example, feels so outdated. There is a reason we left it behind after COD 4. Sledgehammer responded with, this is something that the team definitely wants to try out. One of the cool things about our experimental playlist is that they give us a chance to see how things work in the wild. Expect to see something like this in a future Expect to see something like this in a future experimental playlist, and make sure to share your feedback in the survey we place in the message of the day. It's actually surprising. We haven't had streak looping in so long, it feels like. I think the last time might have been, what, Black Ops 3? I'm not even sure if Black Ops 3 had it. I don't even remember. Next question we have here is, will you bring back 1v1 mode? And Sledgehammer responds with, there are currently no plans for a 1v1 mode at this time. However, if there's enough interest, then the eye emoji. So they would bring it back if there's enough players to support the mode. For me personally, I don't think I would care for that kind of mode, but I guess you never know. Could be kind of fun. The next question here, they asked, a big question I've had since the launch of the game is, how do you intend to balance Modern Warfare 2 weapons with the new Modern Warfare 3 weapons? And Sledgehammer responds, weapon balancing is one of the biggest things we are currently looking at on a daily basis. Our goal is to have a meta shift from season to season to keep things fresh and interesting. That being said, we want as many weapons as possible to be viable to suit the variety of playstyles we have in our community. This is where we are looking closely at the data to target immediate tweaks for weapons that seem to be over or underperforming. We expect Season 1 to have higher level tweaks, with Season 1.5 or Season Reloaded to have some deeper changes. Not too sure what that means by deeper changes, but I guess we'll have to find out. Having a meta shift would kind of be nice, especially if it's for, like, competitive. Just seeing the same, you know, like, two weapons used all the time kind of gets stale. They could mix it up like Apex, and I think it's like every new season they usually have different guns that are just better, and it usually gets changed in the next season, I think. Next question here is Newspaper asking, will y'all add the Spaz 12? And Sledgehammer responds with, there are multiple classic weapons from Modern Warfare series that we're looking to add in future seasonal updates, including shotguns and sniper rifles. First of all, I'm not sure I care if they add the Spaz 12, but for sniper rifles, what we currently have as Modern Warfare 3 snipers that don't look like snipers at all, that is something I'd be interested in. Next question is from Alexi. They ask, would it be possible to give us back the Blitz mode? I felt like I was given more variety in players and much less strict matchmaking within SBMM, EOMM. Like how they slipped in the SBMM in that, and they actually responded to it. A 10v10 mosh pit playlist is currently scheduled. Who knows? Maybe we can fit even more than 20 players in a 6v6 map. That would be wild. Imagine like 15v15 on Rust. That would be something. Just constant gunfights. Spawns would be so bad, but who knows? It could be real fun, and leveling up weapons would be a lot easier as well. Now we have a question from Glittering. And for this, the part that Sledgehammer responds to is, for the second point, I'm thrilled that you included Terminal 24/7 in the hardcore playlist, but I would love to see this be a consistent thing in hardcore for any limited time mode moving forward. Sledgehammer responds with, this is something we definitely want to do with 24/7 playlists from here on out. However, for limited time modes, it's something we'll need to evaluate on a case-by-case basis. Next up, we got a question from Mana Kuski, and they said, mouse input is in desperate need of fixing. There's something very weird going on while aiming down sights. It feels like there's added mouse acceleration sometimes. It doesn't matter if I'm using legacy or relative or any coefficient. I'm using instant transition time. Is the team aware about this and investigating to try and fix this? Mouse input in Modern Warfare 2019 was perfect. Any chance you could replicate it? Sledgehammer responds, the team is aware of a few things that may be contributing to what you're describing. We are looking into it. So again, it's nothing they're saying is really helpful, I guess. It's not like they're saying they're gonna make a change or fix it. They're just saying that they're aware of it. So I guess we'll have to see how that goes, and hopefully a change can happen for that. Next up, we got a question from Razgriz, and they asked, any chance of a third-person mosh pit returning? Sledgehammer responds with, we don't have plans to add a third-person playlist in the short term. In the meantime, this option is available in custom games. Get some friends together and run some matches. To me, this makes sense. I don't think there's very many players that play third-person. which is why it wasn't added to begin with. But again, I could be wrong. Either way, that is the response to that. Next up, which is something that I find super interesting, someone asked, anything to say about the desync or inconsistency in hit registration? And Sledgehammer responds with, our team, in collaboration with Demonware, is always working to improve server and game performance. We have a lot of good reports and data during the beta and launch window. Many improvements have already been made and further are underway. Now, first of all, it's good that they're making improvements and whatnot, but I swear the game doesn't push for better ping because of skill-based matchmaking, so your latency is just always inconsistent. Hopefully they can fix it, but I don't have much hope for that, unfortunately. But at least they addressed it, I guess. Let me know down in the comments if you've had any latency or any server-related issues. Especially if, like, let's say you do good one game, then the next game, I swear it puts you in a server in another region. Like, how do I go from having 20 ping one game to 125? I don't get that. Next up, we have a perk-related question. Family asked, quick and short, will covert sneakers get a nerf or a soft counter? Currently, there is 0 footstep audio with them and 0 counter. Is this intentional? This is how you know this guy's never played Call of Duty before, let me tell you that. Sledgehammer responds with, we'll continue to monitor their performance of perks, but at this time there's no planned changes to the covert sneakers. It is important to note that players aren't totally silent with this perk equipped. There are still other sounds that can give them away. That is true. That is true. I'm glad they aren't changing to change that. That definitely doesn't need a change in my opinion. That's the whole point of it. That's why it got added back into the game. Because it's helpful in search and destroy. It's useful. It's needed. Next up, we got a question from Supar Nemo, and they ask, any chance of gun game coming back? Sledgehammer responds with soon. Crossed out, very soon. Guess we can expect party games to be back soon. That being gun game, one in the chamber, or sticks and stones. Who knows, maybe some other ones. Next up, we got One Country. They said, hi, is there any plans to fix the field of view bug and the cold-blooded loadout bug? And Sledgehammer responds with, they are currently tracking both of these. Not much more needs to be said about that. If it's bugs, they'll figure itself out. Next up, we got a question from Finn. They asked, are there any plans on bringing back combat pacing from Vanguard? Sledgehammer responds with, we'd love to hear from players who enjoyed combat pacing in Vanguard. While there isn't a plan to bring that exact system forward, we are planning to experiment with intensity. Since some of the maps have a lot of play space, we expect the upcoming 10v10 playlist to scratch that combat pacing itch. For me, I think I'd really enjoy this. Especially like on Terminal, since there's a 24/7 Terminal playlist, I feel like I have to run for maybe a minute, or maybe just about a minute to find players sometimes. Either way, I think I would enjoy that. Next up, we got a question from Aggravating, and they asked, hello Sledgehammer, will you be making adjustments to Ghost perk as it is currently not working as intended? UAV still shows you. Sledgehammer responds with, Ghost TV camo will only hide the player from enemy UAVs if they are moving. That being said, we're currently looking into reports that the detection from moving to standing still is too aggressive. First of all, the fact that he says it's not working as intended is kind of funny. It kind of just implies that this guy's sitting in a corner and he's not moving around. I do find that a little bit funny, but I also agree that it is a little too aggressive and needs, like, I don't know, maybe a second and a half to being activated and deactivated. Next up, we got a question from VG Time Lord, and they asked, do you have any more plans for events in game? And Sledgehammer says, absolutely. We have plans short and long term to bring some different event flavors to the players. One of which is Field Rep, which is currently live with the Call of Duty Endowment True Legends event. I do find this question a little silly. Like, we've had events for what, like the past 3 years now in games? I guess maybe this guy just doesn't play that much, which would make sense. Next up here, we got a question from H+, and they ask, will I be able to set ping limit filter when searching for a match in ranked? It really sucks when I end up in a match with bad ping which puts me at a huge disadvantage in MW2. I used to cancel out when my ping got too high, but 2 times I inadvertently canceled out right after joining a lobby. I'm talking milliseconds. And I was then penalized for SR, blah, 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 blah. And they said, we are not currently planning a specific ping limit filter, but we are always looking at ways to optimize our game and how it connects players. That is for sure. They're optimizing something all right. Kind of sucks though. A ping filter, I think, would be really cool. Most competitive games have it anyway, especially like Counter-Strike. I think Steam in general, though, has it. Next up, we have a question from RT, and they asked, Sledgehammer, will we be getting cyber attack mode added to multiplayer? Sledgehammer responded with, cyber attack is not currently in our seasonal plans, but if there is strong interest, please let us know. We're always willing to explore fan favorite modes. I say bring back, honestly, I enjoyed Escort. Like from Black Ops 3, I enjoyed that mode a lot. Maybe that's what this mode is. Maybe I'm dumb. Next up, we got a question from Botanic Josh, and they asked, what were the team's favorite map to remaster? And Sledgehammer responds with, we asked the team and got 16 different answers. Of course, they'd say this 16 different maps got remastered, so. One thing we all agree on, though, was getting to play modes like Hardpoint on Terminal was something we're all looking forward to. Next question from Coach. They basically asked a few questions, but the one they responded to is, what is in mind for the balance of SMGs? Does it look more like a damage buff to SMGs or a movement nerf to ARs, etc.? And then Sledgehammer responds with, we want each weapon category to have its own distinct role for different playstyles. In the beta, we saw that some SMGs were outperforming ARs at ranges. The ARs should dominate, so we made some tweaks based on that. We are seeing a lot of data that the first SMGs a player unlocks are underperforming. We have some balance. Wow, I just cannot read. We have some buffs planned for those. We want to make sure that the SMGs are dominant in the areas they should be, close range, of course, etc., etc. And we are currently happy about where the Rival 9 is. Okay, so the Rival 9 is where we can expect most SMGs to kind of land around performance-wise. But I will say, it seems like that thing just shreds. But again, if everything else gets up to it, I don't think I'll mind it. Next up, we got Iron Wolf asking, when will Season 1 Battle Pass get revealed? Sledgehammer responds, the blog is coming soon. Of course, they'll answer questions related to them getting more money. Makes sense. Next question is from Dependent Pickle, and they ask, will you guys ever add a buff to shotguns? I used to use them all the time in Modern Warfare 2. Makes sense if you want to nerf them, honestly. In Modern Warfare 3, they were just downright awful and take 2 shots to kill. Okay, that's... okay, we'll just continue. Even if you're point-blank range, we're at the type of range shotguns are supposed to one-shot kill. Sledgehammer responds with, shotgun management is something the team is looking into. The TTK of this game does make balancing shotguns extra challenging, but it's important to us to make sure we carve out a space for these weapons. Just go play hardcore. Go play hardcore. Just stop. Go play hardcore. I'm not trying to die by shotguns. They ruin the game, especially on small maps like Shipment. I'm not trying to deal with that another time. Please. Next up, we got a question from Impress Turbulent, and they asked, will headquarters return for Modern Warfare 3 in the future? With operator skins being at an all-time high, it would be great to show them off. The Quartermaster and Major Howard would be a nice return. Sledgehammer responds with, to this day, we're incredibly proud of the headquarters in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Unfortunately, such a feature is a large undertaking because of this. There are currently no plans for it. Good. I'm just trying to play a game. Either way, interesting. This next question I find super interesting from Caesar Void. They said, hey, are there any plans for a replay/theater mode? Sledgehammer responds, theater mode requires significant time and resources to implement. Because of this, we currently do not have any plans. Ugh, that blows. Most of these other games are I can only see it making sense because it's just like one game. They would need to implement it into other games in the future. But either way, it's all in one thing now, like the Call of Duty hub or HQ is what they call it. I feel like they could just add like a theater mode into that. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I'm no dev, so I don't know, but not having theater mode does suck. Next up is a question from I'm Always Trash, and they asked, is there a reason why we can't preview finisher and execution moves anymore? Sledgehammer responds with, "We're looking into the possibility of such a feature. We're proud of our animation team's work on finishing moves and would love to show them off." That's good. It's just like their new camo thing, where you can preview the camo before unlocking it or getting it or whatever. I don't see why there's any reason why they can't add this, but I am kind of surprised it's not even in the game in the first place. I think it was in Modern Warfare 2. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be wrong on that one. Next up, we have a question from DK Dynamite. Will any Modern Warfare 2 2019 DLC maps be added to Modern Warfare 3? Sledgehammer responds, "There are no plans for these specific maps to return at this time. Our seasonal updates will largely be made of all new maps." Honestly, I kind of like that they're still doing new maps. But I would say adding some DLC maps would be kind of cool as well. Especially like Carnival. That map was so cool. Next up, new explanation asked, "Would love to play Demolition again." Sledgehammer responds, "Demolition is planned to explode on the scene in a later season." Honestly, I like to hear that. Demolition has been my favorite for I don't even know how long. It's been forever since they've actually had that in the game. I wish they kind of had it, I don't know, from the beginning, but I guess at least if we get it sooner rather than later in the COD year, that'd be nice. Next here, we got a question from Muscled. They asked, any chance of getting a separate quick play filter for just the Modern Warfare 2 remade map so we can still play Modern Warfare 2 Reimagined and Modern Warfare 3 without the new maps? Excited for new content, but would love the classics to always be available when I feel like just experiencing only those maps. Sledgehammer response with it. This is a fun idea. We could see something like this becoming a limited time playlist, but there are currently no plans for such a playlist to be available at all times, as we need to be mindful of fragmenting the player base. Guess that makes sense? They don't really have... I guess they do have quite a few modes in the game right now, but I could see this one being having a good player base, or a good handful of players playing it. And the last question here from RT Ferry is, how many gunfight maps will be available when it launches in Season 1? Sledgehammer responds with, there will be 6 2v2 maps in rotation in Season 1, including 4 carry-forward maps from Modern Warfare 2 and a brand new map, Training Facility, which is available at Season 1 launch. Shipment will also return. I won't lie, I don't think I knew that Shipment was a 2v2 map. Even in the last game, I don't think I knew that at all. Kind of crazy. And anyway, we didn't get any skill-based matchmaking, talking points, or anything of the sort. Didn't really expect it. If they did talk about it, it would have been nice, at least to get some sort of acknowledgement on the topic. And that will wrap it up for the Sledgehammer AMA. Now, I'm sure I maybe missed a few, but I think I got all the big ones. If I did leave any out, make sure to leave them in the comments, and I'll make sure to pin them so they're up towards the top. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you in the next one.